I'd like to hand you over to the man who co-founded this club and has steered it the whole way through this last year as its president, our president, Tinusha Bahumarachi. Put your hands together and welcome our president.
Thank you, Paul, for the lovely introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests. It's my privilege and pleasure to welcome you to One Country, One World Advanced Toastmasters Club. Let me start the meeting with a special announcement. As you all may know, yesterday there was a webinar contest for all the online clubs, and the winner is from our club. So, proud president here today, and the winner of the contest was Annie Bai. Congratulations, Annie. For the benefit of guests, let me share some information about the club. We bring best practices from all over the world, and we act as a knowledge hub in Toastmasters, and we are the first club in Toastmasters history who conducted a global Toastmasters meeting with 70 countries in last year, April. As a club, we have members including many past and present district trios and also district level winners at speech contests. If you are a guest who's attending for the first time, could you please introduce yourself? I guess we don't have any guests for today.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. President. As Sergeant at Arms, please excuse me. I could have assisted you by announcing that there were not any guests this week. There are, on the other hand, 11 club members present.
Thank you, Paul, for that confirmation. Now it's time to introduce our Toastmaster of the day. She is an enthusiastic Toastmaster. She has served in various clubs and in district roles. In 2019, she was honored for her work as the District 50 Awards Chair, and she has won many speech contests and has achieved multiple distinguished Toastmasters designations. She believes that a compelling story mixed with humor can awake the listener. Let's welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Valerie Bartley, Distinguished Toastmaster, to the mainstream.
Thank you, Tahusha. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited to be the Toastmaster for the very first time at this meeting. So I am really, really excited. Today we have an excellent program ahead of us. But before we jump into that, I wanted to share with you the theme for this meeting: leadership, share the vision. For many of us in our countries, we have been dealing with the pandemic. And with the pandemic, it impacted people in a lot of different ways. One of them being that they were shut in their homes. Other ways, sometimes people were shut in with their children or with their husbands or their wives, and they hadn't really spent that type of time with them in a long time. So it brought up different challenges and, of course, different opportunities. And now that people are getting the vaccine and things are kind of loosening up in most countries, it is time for us to reconnect with the vision that we have for ourselves and also for our countries. And what I say to you is that as a leader, as a Toastmaster and a leader in your personal life and in your professional life, make sure that whatever principles and ethics that you hold dear, that you make sure that your light shines bright to help people to have confidence and hope for the future. So as a leader, make sure you share your vision. Now, in order to make this meeting successful, I have duty holders, and they are, the first holder that I have is my timer. Gerald, can you please tell us about your role?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Today, my role will be keeping this meeting on track and keeping our speakers on time. So I will be timing practically everything that goes on in this meeting. So I'd hope that people will keep an eye out for my virtual lights, which I will display. For the speakers today, we will have 2 prepared speeches from Pathways, and they will be under the times of 5, 6, and 7 minutes. And apologies. And just while I get my virtual background. So I'm going to disappear. So at the 5-minute mark, you will see green. At the 6-minute mark, you will see yellow. And at the 7-minute mark, you will see red. And I will continue to display the red symbol until the speaker concludes. We also have an educational speech given by Sadat, and that's timing will be 15 minutes green, 17.5 minutes yellow, and 20 minutes red. I will also be timing the table topics, and table topics time are 1 minute green, 1.5 minutes yellow, and red on 2 minutes. And I will also time the speech evaluators, whose times will be 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes yellow, and 3 minutes red. I will also be timing other roles, which I will give a report on at the end, and I'll put the speakers' times in the chat for the benefit of the general evaluator. So that's my role in a nutshell today, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Gerard. I really appreciate that. One thing that I was remiss in mentioning at the beginning of the meeting is that our agenda is just a little bit different from most of the meetings that we traditionally have. Today, we will be altering the agenda. We will not have the culture section today, and table topics will not be your traditional table topics. What we're putting in the place of table topics is our One Country, One World promo that we will be presenting this afternoon, and we want to practice it today in front of our club audience. So as far as the timing goes for that section, we need you to time the speakers that will be talking about their various cities as well as their countries. And you can use the standard timing that you would use for table topics. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's fine, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. So my next duty holder is our R counter. Nina, please tell us about your role.
So it's me, Madam.
Thank you.
Yes. Good morning, fellow Toastmaster and distinguished guests. Today, I am the accountant of the day. My duties are to keep a record of all interjections as are, long pause, and other inappropriate verbal habits by speakers. And at the end of the meeting, I will be back to do my report. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Our next duty holder is our grammarian, and Jean is taking on that responsibility. Please tell us about your role.
Hello, everyone. I am grammarian, which I find a slightly scary word. So I would like to emphasize the fact that I'm interested in language, beautiful uses of language, and tips perhaps for alternative ways to use the words we send across. It's also my duty to offer you a word of the day. So if you would like to play, our word of the day is valiant, which is about being courageous, brave, stout-hearted. So you might use the phrase a valiant soldier or a valiant Toastmaster. That's my offer to you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a valiant experience of the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that great word, valiant. I tell you, there are times when I don't feel very brave or very valiant. And sometimes that occurs when I encounter new and interesting ways to pronounce people's names. So please forgive me beforehand if I botch up your name in some way. Charge it to my mind and certainly not to my heart. So my first go at being valiant is to introduce our first speaker of the day. And that is Mr. Tahusha. And can you please help me with the pronunciation of your name?
Tinusha.
Thank you so much. I'll get it. The more I say it, I'll get it. Well, I would like to welcome Tahusha to the stage. He will be doing a speech for us today. And actually, I probably should be letting his evaluator tell us that. Please tell us about the objectives of Tahusha's speech.
Yes, Madam Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmaster. Today, Tinusha is going to deliver his speech from the Effective Coaching Level 2, Project 1, Understanding Your Leadership Skill. And the purpose of the project is to share some aspect of leadership style and leadership style in general, his preference and leadership style in general, and discuss style preferences when working with others, how to adapt the chosen leadership style to any situation. So he has 5 to 7 minutes, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's welcome Tahusha to the screen today.
If you want to make everyone happy, don't be a leader. Sell ice cream. But if I can make you happy by offering an ice cream, I'm happy to give the required support to that ice cream seller to make you all happy. And I believe that's also a leadership style, probably my leadership style. In my life, I always accepted a leadership role when I am ready. When I was a schoolboy, one day our school section head, Ms. Ranjit, came to me and asked, Tinusha, would you like to be a senior prefect at school? He realized that I was thinking, and he told me to think and let him know. As I was getting ready for advanced level examination, I decided not to be a senior prefect. Similarly, in Toastmasters, there were some incidents where I was requested to perform some leadership roles, but I didn't accept a role when I was not ready. There's a famous saying, lead without a title. When I was a university student, I saw there were many students who were trying to do some religious activities. At the same time, there were certain conflicts between students during my university period. What I did was I suggested to establish a society for religious activities. But my idea was rejected. Then I requested it in the next year. It was rejected again. Then again, I suggested it during the third year. They told no once again. However, even without establishing a society, I worked with some of my friends who were interested to do religious activities. And in the meantime, university administration wanted to establish a Buddhist society, and I was appointed as the president of the society. Even before being the charter president of that society, I was leading without a title. Similarly, when we were connecting the globe with One Country, One World, I didn't have any title. I wasn't a district leader, and I didn't wait for a title, but I lead without a title. Also, when it comes to my leadership style, I lead with care, not only at my workplace, but also in Toastmasters. There was an email from a new club supervisor of Toastmasters International a few months ago. And her email was this: the board of directors recently decided that online clubs may now be aligned to a district. District 86 is interested in aligning this club with their district. By aligning your club with the district, some benefits include the following: district-sponsored speech contest, district-sponsored events, district support, district-sponsored officer training. For the district-sponsored contest and for the district-sponsored events, I told her that One Country, One World is a club which has dual members, so we can participate for our own district events and speech contests. And regarding the district support and officer trainings, rather giving an answer, I asked from her, could you please let me know which district you want us to support and who are the officers that you want us to train? And finally, I told her that we are a diversified Toastmasters Club, which connected with 26 different countries, and we can't fall into one district. And then she agreed. Once Simon Sinek told, if we want to be good leaders, it is our job to help people we lead or work with be good at their jobs. This doesn't mean doing their work for them. It means we help them get the resources, get information, and the support they need to perform at their natural best. Therefore, my dear fellow Toastmasters, when you lead, lead to serve, and serve to lead. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much for a very meaningful and touching speech. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Tim Blackburn, and I will have his evaluator, please, which is Tim Wilson. Please tell us the objectives of this speech.
The objectives for Tim Blackburn's speech are to research and present an unfamiliar topic, organize the speech clearly to maximize audience understanding, craft clear and engaging transitions between main sections of your speech, use and cite sources to support speech content, and to make source list available.
Thank you. Let's welcome Tim to the center screen.
Knock, 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 knock. I ran into the room full of excitement. I sat down in front of the general manager's chair of the organization I'm part of. I've got a fantastic idea. I think we should start a Toastmasters club in your organization. His response back to me, Tim, no, I don't think that's a good idea at all. I don't think our organization wants a Toastmasters club. I left that room despondent, saddened, thinking, what a wasted opportunity. Have you ever had a no or rejection in your life? How have you dealt with that? For me, I had to do a reflection. Why wasn't I successful? This is a really good concept and a really good idea. Why didn't the general manager see my vision? So I took time because I needed to understand Toastmasters better. Prior to that, I had gone to one club officer training, and the officer said, if you know a community that Toastmasters could be benefit from, we want to get you starting a club there. So I thought maybe I need a bit more time, a bit more knowledge. So I became president of a Toastmaster club the following year. And I got to learn how to lead a team, how to lead an organization to grow and be prosper. And one of the things I learned as president is that you need to develop any successful project with a team. You can't just go in yourself and be successful. So the second time around, I thought, how can I approach this differently? How can I approach this that will be a successful pitch, establishing my Toastmaster club in the community? So my background is an accountant, and one of my core community groups is an organization called CPA Australia. And one thing I learned was I need to decision who was the stakeholders, who make the decisions. And two, I needed to build myself a team around me in order to build the idea across. And so one of the key stakeholders in the organization were the board of directors. And so if I got to know them a bit better and pitch them my idea, and I could win their support. And when I have win their support, I can then go and pitch it back to the managing director. So that's what I did. I knocked on a few doors and shared my vision, shared my ideas of how it would be great that accountants would speak with great conviction and positivity. I call it the AA, accountants with attitude. And so I convinced these board members that was a really good idea. And they backed me. They invited me to the next board meeting to pitch my idea to the other directors, as well as the managing director. I was a bit nervous, a bit shaky. I was talking to, felt like these high important people. But I learned my confidence, just to treat people as equals. Pitch your ideas as if you were talking to your brother or to your sister. Treat everyone equally. So I pitched my idea and they loved it. And so that set the seed of establishing the first open house meeting at CPA Australia. I organised the event and we had 45 people attend that session. I thought, wow, this is easy. I could establish a club in no time. So the meeting went well and we had a lot of people sign up. But one thing I left out in the detail, which I thought I should have thought of, was it's very difficult to get a booking at this venue and in the evenings. The only times that you can be consistent in bookings at this venue was in the mornings. And so we changed our program to be in the morning session rather than an evening session. But that decision made devastation to my numbers of my new club I was forming. Everyone I spoke to, oh, we can't make it in the morning. We can't make it in the morning. And people were withdrawing the applications. And instead of having a bustling club, I was down to 10 members. And I had to slowly build up the momentum again. It finally got there 6 months later, finally getting members come on board and finally starting a first Toastmasters club. And wow, in November this year, we reached our 10-year goal of establishing this club. And when you think about it, we've had over 200 members go through this club over the 10 years. And I know without me making a stand and establishing this club, we wouldn't have touched and improved the communication skills of those 200 members. I feel really privileged in having the ability to support them in that. Now, I established one club, and I have more than one community that I'm a member of. So I went and started a second club. Now, this second club only took me 3 months to establish. The reason why it only took 3 months is I learned from my previous mistakes. I learned from my experiences, and I formed a really strong team around me. And that team worked together, and we shared out our roles. One person was helping establishing the committees, one would help organize meetings, and we would work with a new club to really build up and get established really fast. And so I feel really privileged that I have really gone out and touched every community that I'm a part of and established clubs. I have now established 4 clubs here in my district. Each of them are connected to my community. So my question to you, what communities are you connected with? What communities can help you that you can benefit from teaching them how to communicate better? How can you get those communities to embrace the Toastmasters process to improve communication? Back to you, Toastmaster Nadia.
Thank you so much for such an elegant speech. I really appreciate that very much. Thank you. At this point, can I please have a timer's report?
Madam Toastmaster, I'm happy to report the speech times. Tanusha came in at 6 minutes 22 seconds, and Tim came in just slightly over 7 minutes 30 at 7 minutes 31. So we might just give Tim that. So those are the speech times, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so very much. Okay. Now, are you ready for our promo? This should be a whole lot of fun. One of the things that I needed to do was get someone to evaluate the speakers during the promo. And I did reach out to Rosemary. Rosemary, are you prepared to evaluate the speakers during the promo? If not, we're going to need to find someone to evaluate the speakers.
I think she's part of us as well.
Oh, she? Okay, sorry. Is somebody
maybe Jean? Yeah, Jean and Tim, and maybe that's the if you can give some feedback, that would be great.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you so very much. Thank you. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Captain Nush to get us started.
Nush, you are muted. but let me
And-
start.
Yeah,
Hey,
Joan. Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Flight OCOW with service from One Country, One World Toastmasters Club. We are currently getting ready for takeoff and are expected to be in the air in approximately 7 minutes. We ask that you please fasten your seatbelts and secure all baggage underneath your seats. Please note that this is a COVID-free flight. No masks, no hand sanitizers, nor social distancing is required. Thank you for choosing OCOW Airlines.
Merci d'avoir choisi OCOW Airlines.
Wendy.
Welcome.
Wendy.
Gracias por escoger OCOW Airlines.
欢迎乘坐 OCOW 航空。
Ladies and gentlemen, while you get situated in your seats, I want to share with you a short video to get you acquainted with OCOW. Here we go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And now, on the other side of that wonderful video, let me turn it over to another member of our flight crew, Valerie Bartley. Valerie?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Today we will be traveling the world in the next 20 minutes. Captain Nush has created an exciting travel itinerary. You will get to see a bird's eye view of Amsterdam, Colombia, Pittsburgh, USA, Cyprus, Ireland, Mauritius, Sri Lanka, and more. Enjoy your flight.
Thank you. Greeting, passengers. This is your captain speaking. First, I would like to welcome everyone on board OCOW Airline. We are currently cruising at an altitude of 33,000 feet and an airspeed of 400 miles per hour. The time now is 1:06 p.m. Eastern Time. The weather looks good and with the tailwind on our side. So sit back, relax, and let our flight crew take you for a trip. We will start from Asia and go all the way across the Caribbean to the USA. So let me. First, I would like to invite our president, Captain Crew, the flight crew, to take us from Sri Lanka. Tinusha.
Welcome to the Pearl of the Indian Ocean. Sri Lanka is a country with a written history of more than 2,000 years. The island is rich in natural resources and has a diverse economy based on agriculture, mining, fishing, manufacturing, and tourism. Dandu Monaray was the legendary prehistoric aircraft of our first king Ravana, which was used by him to travel among countries under his command. When you visit Sri Lanka's first kingdom, sacred city Anuradhapura, you will be able to see some wonderful creations of our past kings. Sigiriya, the 8th wonder of the world, and this is a kingdom built on a rock. When you visit Sigiriya, you will see Lion Gate, climbing stretch, beautiful artworks, mirror wall, and most importantly, the technology used to store water in the top of the rock was amazing. When you travel down south, you will see the beautiful beach. You can have a safari time also. When you travel, you don't know who will meet. You can have an impromptu experience, just like in table topics. Visit the places where Lord Buddha first landed in Sri Lanka, go surfing, relax on the beach, go on safari, go hiking, swimming with sea turtles, whale watching, explore all the waterfalls, and there are more than 100 waterfalls. Also, you can experience any climate type in Sri Lanka. For an example, if you go to hill country, places like Nuwara Eliya, you can experience the cold European climate. And that's why Nuwara Eliya is considered as the Little England. We are a nation mastered hospitality. The tropical climate, beautiful beaches, and incredible food of Sri Lanka are just some of the many reasons to include on your travel wish list. Back to you.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy Sri Lanka. Next, I would like to take you to Ireland. Paul, take it. Paul?
Okay, just let me stop for a second. Sorry, I thought that you were going to, or somebody was going to put up the slide for Ireland. I did not realize that I had to put it up. Can somebody put it up, please?
No, it's here. It's here on the screen. Can you see?
Oh, yeah, I apologize. I had minimized it. Apologies. So would you just, yeah, Ireland. Welcome to the Greenland. Welcome to that little green island over there on your screen, surrounded by water. One of the biggest islands in the Atlantic Ocean. What do you want to know about Ireland now that you've landed here today? Have a look over to the other side and you'll see the green grass. That is what Ireland specializes in. We are a country that grows green grass better than anybody else in the whole world. And after you've spent your time growing green grass, you need a hearty breakfast. Let me draw your attention to what you'll find on an Irish breakfast. Brown bread, fried bacon, fried tomatoes, fried eggs, we fry our breakfast. In fact, we talk about a fry-up. And when we've had breakfast and worked all day, we go together to make music. Look at the photograph of the people making music, the fiddle, the bodhrán drum, the drinks, the chat. Yes, passengers, welcome to Ireland. And that is our story.
Thank you. So now, next, we would like to go to Mauritius, but I don't think our cabin crew, Madav, is here today. So we just skip to the next destination, St. Martin. And our cabin crew, Nadia, going to take us for the trip.
Thank you, Captain. Welcome, dear Toastmaster and guests. You are in the smaller island shared in two countries. In the north is the French side a part of France, and the south, it's a part of Netherlands. And do you know how they call my island? The Friendly Island. Why? Because when we come here, you can speak French, you can speak English, you can speak Spanish, you can speak Creole. I can speak four of that four language. Un peu disant bonjour. I can tell you good morning, buenos dias, and welcome to here. What do you want to do? Go to the beach, you will see with another the next pictures, you can drop for the plane directly on the beach. So put your suit and you can dive directly in the beach. You want to eat, you could. You want to see St. Martin from the higher point of view, you can do all of that. Which currency do you have? You have dollar, you can use it, guilder, and euro, of course. Welcome to my island, and I would like to tell you, I would like to travel the world with you twice, and to see the world twice, to see the way you see the world with me. Back to you, Captain.
Thank you, Rose Matia. Now, next, we're going to take you to this Commonwealth of Dominica, and going to tell you is Rosemary.
Thank you, Captain. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Dominica, the nature isle of the Caribbean, this is what it is known for. And we boast of having 365 rivers, a river for every day of the year. In our rivers, you could go swimming, diving, snorkeling, but you could also take a tube out of a vehicle and go down the river tubing. We are also known for our boiling lake. This lake, you could dip an egg in it, and in a few seconds, this egg would be boiled. It is the second largest boiling lake in the world, second to Japan. When you come here, we would advise you do not visit the boiling lake without a guide. Also, if you meet it dry, do not walk in the boiling lake, because in seconds, it could come over your head and you would be dead instantly. Next slide. Next slide. We love carnival. We are a festive people. We have year-round carnival, carnival in February, carnival in November, carnival in December. And sometimes people mask themselves. So before COVID, we wore masks at certain times. And it is a festive time where you could just jump in. You do not have to have your costume. And Dominica is a place where we have the largest group of indigenous people. At one time, they were called Caribs because they were said to be hostile, but later we learned they were not hostile people. They were just defending themselves. And they are the Kalinago. They took back their original name. These are the first people who were in Dominica, and they are very gentle people, loving people. Whenever you visit our island, we encourage you to go to the Kalinago territory, where you will see them weaving baskets, things they did back before the 1800s. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you. We will definitely visit the Cardinal Group. Now we're going across the Mediterranean to Cyprus, and take it over, Stafrina.
Χρυσό πράσινο φύλλο ρηγμένο στο πέλαγος. Please go to the next slide, Nuch. Shaped like a leaf, Cyprus floats in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. It is green during the winter and gold the rest of the year because Cyprus has 340 days of sunshine. The sea surrounding our island has 50 shades of blue, and it is warm and clear throughout the year, making it a paradise for divers, swimmers, and sailors. No wonder Aphrodite, the ancient Greek goddess of love and beauty, chose to emerge from the foamy sea in Cyprus. There is a lemon tree in every yard in Cyprus. And right before lunch and dinner, we cut one to add it in just every food we eat. From fish to salad, barbecue to soup, a dash of lemon makes the food more tasty. In the spring, the whole island smells of the discreet and distinguished smell of citrus flowers. When it comes to fun, we really love festivals. There is singing and dancing and local food is served. The big festivals also have a parade with chariots and groups of people participating. The most known festival is the Carnival Festival, with a combination of costumes, colors, themes, and of course, visitors from all over the world. I cannot wait to welcome you to my island. Kopiaste. Back to you, Captain Nuge.
Thank you. We will definitely there with the lemon touch of lemon in our food. Now, the next destination is Pittsburgh, and I would like to invite our flight attendant Jones to explain to us.
Thank you, Captain Noosh. Everybody has a hometown, and my hometown is located in the United States of America. It is the 60th largest city in the United States. It lives in the state of Pennsylvania, which is the second state to be ratified in the 50-state union. It was recently voted 20 top most livable city in the world. It's located on the East Coast. I'd like to get you acquainted with my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Next slide, Noosh. Now, Pittsburgh is known for many things. Did you know that Pittsburgh is the city with the most bridges in the world? 446 bridges to be exact. That's 3 bridges more than the former world leader of Venice, Italy. Other firsts in the city of Pittsburgh, well, it began the first commercial broadcast station, KDKA, back in 1920. That means it's 101 years old, and that station is still going strong, broadcasting music, weather, sports, and my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers football team. Now, if you look at the gentleman in the white lab coat, you may recognize him. That is Dr. Jonas Salk, and he created the first polio vaccine in 1953 while he was a researcher and a teacher at the University of Pittsburgh. And you know, he was instrumental in knocking out that virus worldwide. Speaking of University of Pittsburgh, if you slide over to that tall Gothic building on the right-hand side of your screen, that is the Cathedral of Learning, and that is located right in the heart of the University of Pittsburgh campus. It's 95 years old. It's a historic building, 42 stories high, but the most interesting fact about that building to me is that on the first and second floors, it houses 30 nationality rooms, and that represents the countries of the people that built Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I love my hometown. I wanted to share a little bit of it with you. Back to you, Captain Noosh.
Thank you. Now we would like to take you across the continent to South Africa. And this time, our cabin crew, Bendy, going to take you on the tour. Bendy.
The most welcoming place on earth is ready to greet you with a shining smile, a half cup of a delicious coffee, and the warmth of its people. Welcome to Colombia, a topographic diverse country where you will find mountainous regions, stretching plains, mysterious rainforests, and stunning world-famous beaches. Northeast South America is the only country in the region with both Caribbean and Pacific coasts. Join us for a brief tour to Colombia. Next. Tatacoa Desert. A part of having a perfect geographic and atmospheric conditions for the observation of celestial bodies, La Tatacoa has no visual or auditory pollution. Lost City, hidden deep in the jungle, consists of 170 stone terraces. Curved in a mountain, the only way to reach is walking. 44 kilometers per day, includes several river crossing, steep climbing, requires a good level of fitness. It finished with 1,200 stone steps. Third, the famous river of 5 colors, Caño Cristales, where the water takes on countless hues and it flows over the colorful algae that grows below. This 5 colors river changes its hues through the year, providing an amazing natural showcase. 4. The Amazon is the Colombia's green heart, a mind-blowingly huge and diverse region consisting of age-old rainforests, imposing skies, formidable rivers. Indigenous communities living there are most than willing to provide you with ancestral wisdom. 5th, located in the Guajira Peninsula, one on the street points of South America surrounded by the Caribbean Sea, Punta Gallinas has an impressive scenery of plateaus, dunes, rocky cliffs. 6. Colombian coffee enjoys quite the level of world renown thanks to its soft taste and outstanding quality. Those who come visit will meet friendly farmers to share delightful conversations at cup of world's best coffee with. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, before we land, we would like to take you to the last destination, the USA. And we'd like to welcome Valerie.
Start spreading the news. We're leaving today. New York. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from France. Thousands and millions of people had migrated to the USA in 1892 through 1924. Many of those people remember the iconic Statue of Liberty as the land of freedom and the home of the brave. From those dates on, people continued to migrate to this country. New York is one of several major cities in the USA. Other ones are California, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and more. Well, we don't just have cities, we also have 90% of the land is considered rural. And we have over 10 natural wonders in the world, one of them being Lake Tahoe, which is known for its beautiful lakes as well as its scenic mountains. People enjoy going to Lake Tahoe to ski, and in the summer and springtime, they go there to camp as well as sit by the crystal clear waters. The US is known as a melting pot because of the variety of people that live here. They have many races and ethnic groups that are represented, and they have over 350 languages that are spoken here. You can imagine, because of our diversity, we have wonderful foods that are wonderful on your palate. We have people that offer you the American pizza, which people consume over 100 acres of pizza every single day. The US is also the birthplace for jazz. Louis Armstrong is very well known for singing a very famous song, "What a Wonderful World This Is." So when you come to the US, make sure you bring your camera, your map, and your suitcase, because you're guaranteed to have a wonderful time in the USA. Thank you.
Thank you. So I hope we enjoy your flight. Now we're going to land soon. Please fasten your seatbelt and please fly with OCOW again. Thank you. Toastmaster of the Day.
Oh, that's me. All right. Can we please have a Thomas report for this segment of our meeting?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. So what a wonderful segment it was. I can't wait to get back on the airplane and get on OCAO Airlines. So for our reports, worldwide reports, Tanusha in Sri Lanka was 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Paul in Ireland, 1 minute, 23 seconds. Nadia in St. Martin, 1 minute, 51 seconds. Rosemary in Dominica was 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Stavriana in lemon flavored Cyprus, 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Joan in Pittsburgh, love the Steelers, 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Wendy in Colombia, I'm possibly a little bit out because it threw me when Wendy paused briefly and said no next, but I thought she was handing back to Nush. So I estimated that Wendy was about 2 minutes, 47 seconds. It may not be correct. Valerie in New York, 2 minutes, 22 seconds. So that's the report. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much for a very detailed report. Boy, you're an excellent timer. Great skills, among other skills. Thank you so much. Well, we've reached the moment in our meeting where we want to talk about our guest speaker, and we have an excellent guest speaker today. It is Toastmaster Saudade Fernando, and the title of his speech is Communication Beyond Norms. Saudade is an award-winning Toastmaster and public speaker who has addressed hundreds of people on the topic of success and stability. His humor and thought-provoking life lessons have won the hearts of audiences. He has won 10 times on the level in the International Speech and Humorous Contest in Sri Lanka. Saudade was also first runner-up in the first semifinal of the District Humorous Speech Contest held in Mumbai, India, in 2010. He is the winner and first semi-finalist in the District Humorous Speech Contest held in Vellore, India in 2016, and became the second runner-up in the finals contest. As a corporate leader, Saudade has been instrumental in resolving several prolonged industrial disputes on various political issues affecting economics in his country. Let's welcome Saudade Fernando to center screen.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, for that wonderful introduction. It's a grand privilege for me to speak to a forum like this. Brothers and sisters from different countries, what a wonderful privilege. And I should say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I think different time slots. So thank you for inviting me. And in fact, I want to share something. I mean, I don't have to talk about communication with you, gentlemen, ladies. You know about it, right? Fantastic speeches. I was amazed with the way that you have taken the aircraft and explained about your countries. It is within a short period of time. I learned a lot. So thank you very much for that. I have a small presentation. Can you give me a co-host option?
Yeah, that has been given. You can try.
All right. Okay. All right. Can you see the slides? Right, okay, thank you. So friends, communication, we know that is very important. In our younger days, small days, we used to go to elocution and we learned pronunciation, we learned grammar, we used to go to classes, right? In school, we learn the language, and then so we learn so many norms of communication, especially when you grow up places like Toastmasters. So one of the, I think I recommend, is the best place where you can learn the art of communication. So we learn these norms. Oh, the soft skills are very important. I'm talking through my experience in the corporate sector about 32 years. The communication skills are very important. So we learn the norms. Then if you learn all those things, you know that we can become good communicators, public speakers, and can speak in a crystal clear language, the very good grammar, using beautiful pronunciations. All these things we can learn, and we can become good public speakers. Especially in Toastmasters, we know how to organize our speeches, then using body language, tonality, expressions, all this comes, and using beautiful words, vivid words, rhetorical devices, and with these things we can become good public speakers. So anyone can become a public speaker, I believe. But can our content move people to action? Can your content move people to action? A good question for us to ask. I mean, if you have all these ingredients of a public speaker, we can speak very nicely. But it's a matter of making people into action, pushing people to action, or comfort another person. Can we do that? What are the traits that we should have? I personally believe, even if you stammer, even if you have so many R's and N's, even if you mispronounce, even if your grammar is wrong, if you can change another person, if you can move another person into action, for me, that is what most important, a moving person into action. So what is the best, I mean, what kind of trait, what kind of virtue that we should have within us? So we all are good speakers. What kind of virtue that we need to inculcate within us to move a person into action through our communication?
Authenticity.
Pardon?
Authenticity.
Super. Thank you very much. Shiva, round of applause. Thank you very much for that. So authenticity, or you can call it sincerity, which is very important. Authenticity and sincerity. I mean, if you are sincere, if you are authentic, that will reflect from your words, that will reflect from your body language, that will reflect from your facial expression, that will reflect from your entire life. Then people will embrace. People will act according to your word. You can reinforce your thoughts. You can comfort another person. You can exhort another person easily. Now, where can we learn authenticity or sincerity? Is there any institution to learn that? I believe that it should come within us. When you talk about authenticity and sincerity, I'll just share a wonderful experience I have. I don't want to name that. I don't want to insult anyone, but he's from our hometown, and he's a fantastic speaker and politically inclined person. And he's involving in NGO also. NGO was working against domestic violence. So he's into good cause, and he had the title called Justice of Peace. In Sri Lanka, we have just title called Justice of Peace. So he's kind of a peacemaker, right? So one day I went to his house. I saw some flying saucers and plates were flying. So I was shocked because he was intoxicated and he was abusing assaulting his wife. So, but the man outside the world, he has justice of peace, and he's working against domestic violence. So is that authentic? Sincere? It's not that. I mean, people don't listen to that type of people. And when you talk about people who have moved another person to action, people who have added new dimensions to the world, they are authentic and sincere. As an example, Chief Seattle. Everyone knows about Chief Seattle, a man who spoke about the nature, the tribe leader, the beautiful words, but that words has a great meaning, and he had a burning desire, instinct desire towards his words. He once said, love this earth as a newborn loves mother's heartbeat. Earth does not belong to man, man belongs to earth. So how can we buy, sell, or destroy this land if it doesn't belong to man? So those are moving words, and he actually himself, he sincerely worked for it. That's why even today, if you talk about nature, Seattle's name is there, and our friends from USA. So the city is named after Seattle. I had the privilege to visit that city in 2017. So I believe he's authentic, sincere man. And when you talk about Nelson Mandela, he served 27 years in jail. After he was released, the blacks wants to create some, they wanted him to take the leadership and create some kind of a war against the white people. But what did he say? If I can, I spent good 27 years in prison. If I can forgive them, why can't you? So that was, he was one of the successful leaders, and within a short period, he did a lot to his country. And Martin Luther King Jr. I really love that speech. I have a dream. So I have a dream to see every black boy holding arms of a hand of another white girl, or white boy holding hands of black girl, and sitting around the table of brotherhood. So those words had a meaning, and they had true burning desire or sincerity to work for that. So those people have moved people into action. So as speakers, we also should have that kind of desire when we lead the people, when we lead people into action as Toastmasters. We can do a lot, my friends. Now, I believe there's no institution, but it's a matter of changing within you. In fact, I personally, when I became a speaker, I realized there are weaknesses within us. So I believe it's a matter of stripping off the old personality and clothing ourselves with a new personality. So it's not that easy because we are imperfect people, but it's a matter of changing within us. In fact, since I'm scripturally inclined, I found good admonitions from there. So changing the old personality. I believe there are 4 aspects that we need to get rid of. Actually, I felt it because one is nepotism, one is egotism, racism, and if you have prejudice. So all these things, if you have those, even one of those traits, even I had, but I tried my best to change those things. Even if you have one of those traits, what will happen? That will reflect from the words I speak, the word, from my body language, from my tonality, from my life. So that's will reflect, and people won't accept our words. So it's very important. I believe this is what I see, because when you learn the norms of communication, it's like icing on the top of the cake. It's beautiful when you have all those norms. But I believe in myself, I try to I move this icing away just to see whether the cake is proper. Then only we will see, oh, the cake is not, if the cake is not proper, if only the icing is there, so that won't serve the purpose. So we have to examine ourselves and see that we have those negative traits within us. We will not be able to get rid of 100%, but at least if we try, that will reflect when we speak, when we lead, when we communicate to people. And finally, I believe, get rid of all those traits and we need to enrich with love. I always believe unconditional, unfailing, and unselfish love, which is the most noble virtue that we can enrich. If we really truly love others, that will reflect from our communication, that will reflect from our words, that will reflect from our body language, that will reflect from our entire life. People will embrace us. So I forgot to run these slides as well. So get rid of these 4 aspects and embrace love. Then people will embrace us. People will listen to us, and we can reinforce our thoughts. We can move people into action. We can comfort another person. We know people these days with this pandemic, people live in anguish and pain. Some people don't have hope. I mean, they have lost their jobs. The economies have crashed. So as communicators, we as communicators have a great responsibility among us to uplift them with our words, genuine words, uplift them, to comfort them. So friends, if you embrace with love, you can do wonders, and your communication will be accepted by people. So once again, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and all the best, my Toastmasters from around the world. And I believe this is a grand privilege for me to speak through words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for Sadad for that very interesting and heartfelt speech. I can certainly see why you're an award-winning speaker. So thank you so much for making time to come to speak to us today. Can we please have a timer's report for this speech?
Madam Toastmaster, Sadat's educational speech came in at 13 minutes and 28 seconds.
Thank you so much. Wow. We have gotten to probably one of my most favorite parts of any Toastmasters meeting, the opportunity to get feedback. And our general evaluator today is my friend and my hero, Paul. I'd like to welcome Paul to the screen.
Madam Toastmaster, can you hear me? Wait, just 1 second.
Yes, I can hear you.
Good, lovely. Why on earth does Toastmasters International in every club all the way around the world have a general evaluator? That is what I'm about to communicate with you about. Why do you think? Here's what I think. I think it's to help the club get better. Simple as that. The only reason I'm here today is to help the club to get better by giving you my opinion. You'll hear from me a little later. But today, I want to introduce you to some people who will also give their opinion. And they are speech evaluators. Now, we have some top-class speech evaluators here today, and I am going to tell you who they are. The first speech evaluator is all the way from the other side of the world, from Ireland. It's Noosh, and Noosh is going to evaluate a speech by Valerie, who comes from the other side of the world. So, one country, one world joins people across land masses and oceans. I'd now like to invite Noosh to please come and evaluate the speech by Valerie. Excuse me, Paul dropped a clanger. Thank you for not interrupting me and telling me I dropped my trousers. Thank you very much. Noosh, will you please introduce your own evaluation of the man who comes from the same side of the world as you? Tanusha, Bahamurachi from Sri Lanka, evaluated by Noosh from Thailand.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmaster, guest and the speaker, Tinusha. If you want to make people happy, don't be a leader, sell ice cream. A quote that already caught my attention because this is a quote from Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs is my hero. He's a variant leader, my hero, and also Tinusha, you are the leader, variant leader of my hero. What I like about your speech is first, you call my attention with the quote, and then later on, he tells us what kind of leader he is from the school, university, that he led the Buddhist community society team until Toastmaster when he became the president of OCOW. Now we know he's a leader who leads with love and care. The virtue that our guest speaker, Sudat, say, love and care will move people. And indeed, Tinusha, you move us, you inspire me especially. And call to adventure, because you tell us with all the story from the university until the Toastmaster experience, that we come to know you better with your call to adventure. We walk with you, we travel with you on your adventure journey. What I would like to maybe suggest is call to action in the end. I don't see the call to action. Perhaps if you add the call to action in the end, for example, now, if you want to become a leader, lead and with your servant's heart, for example, serve and lead. Then we will like inspire and take action. So call to action. So what I like about your speech is call to attention, call to adventure, but add call to action, and it will be the impactful speech for me. Mr. General Evaluator.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Noosh, for such a wonderfully encouraging and insightful evaluation. I will now invite our second evaluator, Tim Wilson, who is going to evaluate the speech by Tim Blackburn. So Tim, evaluate Tim.
Well, as you know, your challenge as a speaker is to connect with your audience and pull them into your world. As you heard Sudat mentioned, you start out with wherever the audience is. Ideally, they hear your speech, they're transformed, they come out doing, thinking, feeling a whole new sort of different way. And the first challenge is get your audience's attention. Attention. Your audience wonder, who's the speech for? Who's the speech for? And in this case, you had that beginning, Tim, where you had knock, knock, which is a great kind of big bang opening. A big bang opening. Right at the very beginning, bang, you get the audience attention. They're thinking, oh, okay, something's going on here. I better pay attention. Knock, knock. What does that mean? Who's knocking? What's going on? That's really effective, that big bang opening. Thought for development or thinking about, you had a question. However, you didn't pause after the question. Always pause for the point. Pause for the point. You ask a question, you have to pause long enough for the audience to answer it in their mind, and then you go on. Then comes content. Content. Okay, what's the problem? The audience says, okay, I get what you're talking about. What's the problem? And here you did something that a lot of speakers don't do, and I think was very effective. You used I thought. I thought. Back and forth dialogue. Back and forth dialogue. Back and forth dialogue takes your story from being just a narrative. He said that he was upset to an actual dialogue. You said, I'm upset. Or you're thinking, whoa, he seems pretty upset. I thought can be really effective at getting the audience in your mind. It helps open up your entire story and make it really live, which is really great the way you did that. And thoughts for development are a minor point, but think about physical and psychological. You mentioned your managing director, but we have no idea as the audience about what does this person look like? Who are they? What are they about? And a simple way to do that is physical and psychological. Something physical about them, something psychological about them. Something physical and psychological. Like they might be a large, angry person, or a short, detailed person. Whatever it was, something like that. So if you know you've got a large, angry managing director, kind of gives you an idea in your head about, oh, I know people like that. I sort of understand who that is. And that gives you a sense of really looking at the person rather than just hearing about them. Then comes technique. Okay, I get the problem. How do you solve the problem? How do you solve the problem? Here, I think you could improve by thinking about repeating. You kind of mentioned a bunch of different techniques, but never really were able to figure out, okay, which technique was that? And what was that? Repeat to be remembered. Repeat to be remembered. Your audience can't reread your speech. So you've got to repeat everything over and over again. You repeat to be remembered. Then you say, here's a technique I used. Repeat the technique over and over again. Then the audience will get it and say, oh, yeah, I understand how you can do that. Okay, yeah, that can work. So always repeat to be remembered in your speech. And then finally comes selling. Selling. You wonder, okay, yeah, I get how to do it, but why should I do that? Why should I do that? And here's something I think you could do a little bit better. What are the personal benefits the audience gets out of creating a club? Maybe they get esteem. People say, hey, you look great. Or maybe they say, whoa, yeah, I'm really doing something with other people. What is the benefit the person gets out of it? Think about developing that. But Tim, you gave us something for everyone to think about. Everybody out there, make sure you are looking for those club building opportunities.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you very, very much. I would now like to ask for some evaluations on how well, we won't call it a table topic session. It was a rehearsal for the VTM conference performance, which will happen later in the day. Could I invite the evaluator for the session, the rehearsal, Jean Gamester? If my memory serves me well, you volunteered to evaluate, and before you open your mouth on everyone's behalf, I want to thank you for stepping up. Let's hear your evaluation of us.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, and thank you for inviting me to review your promo. So I had two trains of thought going on as I reviewed this. So one was just paying attention to what was happening in the moment. And then there was a train of thought about what is the purpose and what do you want to achieve here? So my sense of this is that the idea of this is that you want to let people know about our club, about what we're about, and maybe invite some people to join. Is that right? Okay, cool. That helps very much with what I wrote down with my second train of thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wander through and share the thoughts that occurred at the time. Joan, welcome aboard. I want to be on your plane. I really enjoyed that warm welcome. Your eyes sometimes wandered off into the sky, so stay with the camera. Nadia, loved the language that you brought into this from the start. Weirdly, you're fine now, but weirdly you were kind of lower down in the camera earlier on, so make sure you're positioned well. I enjoyed the video. I wondered where all these great speakers we invited, where the women were, but there were other women, and clearly there are loads of women in our promo gig, so that's okay, but I wonder, do we need to make more women invites? There's a typo at the point where we get to Tanusha with the Christmas hat, so you want to look at that. Valerie, Captain Nush and the bird's eye view, really love the way you kept the theme going. Nush, this is your captain speaking. I felt safe. What I would love you to do, you've maintained the metaphor about travel beautifully, and I would like you at this point to start to introduce the idea of we're not just traveling, we're a Toastmasters Club traveling. And that's generally some feedback. I'd love to hear you make a connection between the countries that you're showing us and the fact that we're a Toastmasters club. How many clubs are there in Sri Lanka, in Ireland? You know, tell us about the club that you came from, because we are part of a much bigger community. And that starts to tell me why I should join this club. It's not just that we go to nice countries and stuff. We have this international club. Paul, yeah, I was very happy to return to my home country, and you cannot get that brown bread anywhere apart from Ireland, as far as I can see. So I am going to have to go back to my mammy soon. St. Martin, yeah, lovely. I love the body language and starting to hear languages other than English, which I think is really important if we're an international club. Rosemary, I loved your 2 pictures and the 2 different audiences. At this point, I was beginning to get lost about where I was in the world. So maybe if you have time, a world map that shows us where are our members and where are we visiting, because that will hold the presentation together. Stavriana, you sang and you used a language that wasn't English. Lovely. I wonder whether you could say hello in all of our languages, but that is before I wrote that down, before I realized you were delivering it this evening, so forget that. Joan, lovely, 30 nationalities, a beautiful opportunity to spin us off to what this club is about. Wendy and ancestral wisdom, I really loved that. Valerie, I think maybe make the point that we've already been to Pittsburgh and then we're back to the USA. Love the bits about the melting pot. We weren't sure how long this slot was. There were about 16 minutes worth of the speeches, the mini speeches. So, and there's a possibility that you were maybe 20 to 27 minutes. So it's worth thinking about that. In summary, a lovely tour, love the plane, love the theme, love the visuals, love the energy. This is the kind of club I'd want to be a member of if I wasn't a member of it. And in thinking about your purpose, continually bring us back to this is a club, this is a whole load of people, and we want you to join. And if you bring the kind of energy that you bring to every club, to the session tonight, who wouldn't want to be a member of our club? Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Well, what a fabulous evaluator. I've made 13 recommendations on my piece of paper. So that's terrific. The relevant committee can consider that later and consider which ones can be implemented, but fabulous stuff. Just what we want from an evaluator. Let me say a couple of quick words in relation to the evaluators. Just a couple of things to thank you very much for your evaluation. Noosh, you gave a terrifically clear recommendation about adding a call to action. That's terribly helpful to a speaker, and complimented Tanusha on his first 2 parts. I love the way you summarized it as you've done the first 2 parts and all you have to do is add the last one. Tim, incredible structure in there. 4 different aspects of how to make a great speech, and almost all of them had positive points and points for change. My suggestion to you is that you slow down in order to give time for your recommendations to sink in. Now, they're my two recommendation points. I would now like to ask our, oh my goodness, I'm in a dither today. Let me ask Nadia, our counter, would you please give us a little report on what you have been looking at, please?
Thank you, Mr. GE. Today, my task was very easy because we are in that club. We have only strong, great speakers. I heard only 5 R or 2 long pauses, and 2 phrases were repeated. Back to you, Mr. GE.
Thank you very much for your acute observations, Nadia. Thank you very much. Grammarian, Jean, you promised to observe the quality of the language and to chip in a few words about alternative ways of saying things. And you also gave us you valiantly gave us the word of the day, valiant. May I have your report? May we have your report, please?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Now, I have to admit to you that because I grew up in a club that didn't have the word of the day, I'm not terribly attuned to this. But my suspicion is that the only 2 people who used the word valiant were Valerie and Paul. This is the point where you put me straight. Aha, okay. So valiant work from Valerie and Paul, and I'm really glad that Valerie thought of valiant. It's because your name is like that. Anyway, Geroid, well done. I loved my virtual lights. Valerie, to my mind, if not to my heart. Tanusha, I loved this theme around leading without a title. There was a point where you said, I was requested to, and I thought, oh, I wonder how I would say that. And at first I thought I might say, I received a request, and then that felt a little bit formal. So I wondered if I might just say, I was asked to. That might give you a simpler way of saying what you want to say. Tim started off with knock, 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 which was a real wake-up call, and I loved the repetition and the energy with that. There was a point where you said a bit more time and a bit more something else. And I wondered about the qualifying word bit. Did you need that word? Because maybe it detracts from your message. I needed more time. You also gave us accountants with attitude, which stays in my heart now forever. Sudath, enrich with love. And you also used the term a great responsibility among us, which I liked the feel of. And I also wondered, would I use that phrase? And I think I might have said, we have a great responsibility. But there was something embracing about the among us that I was struck by. Paul, now Paul had us on the other side of the world, and then the other side of the world, and then the same side of the world, and I got a bit lost. But then he warmed my heart by saying that he dropped a clangor, which for those of you to whom the phrase dropped a clangor is not familiar, it's basically imagining something big and steel and heavy landing on the ground with a great big clang, which makes the word onomatopoeic, which I thought was very nice. The sound is like the meaning. Nush, you spoke about leading with the servant's heart, which I really loved. There was a point where you said what I would like to maybe suggest, and I would suggest that you lose the word maybe, because your feedback was perfectly, well, it was perfectly cool anyway. And also our evaluations we're here to deliver them, so we don't need the maybe. And I like the fact that you said that it was an impactful speech for me, demonstrating that it is your personal opinion. And Tim, I would just like to celebrate pausing for the point and repeating to be remembered. Mr. General Evaluator.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. Let me ask our timer, if our timer would like to make a short report. Is there any matter in connection with timing on which you would like to report?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, Paul. I'll just do a quick run through of the times that I hadn't reported on. Just to say that the meeting kicked off on time, 8 o'clock ET. The introductions just from the role players for our counter, Nadia was 34 seconds, Jean's introduction 50 seconds, Nush with her intro, sorry, don't worry about that one. I've reported the speech times. I didn't, as Jean alluded to, we roughly gauged that the promotional video was around the 27 minute mark. I tallied up all the individual segments and took account of introductions. So I estimated 23 minutes, between 23, 24 minutes on that one. And the evaluation times then I think are the next I have to jump to. So we had Nush at 2 minutes 32 seconds and Tim Wilson at 3 minutes 20 seconds. I was unsure of Jean's timing for the evaluation of the promotion, so ignore the lights. Jean came in at 4 minutes 55 seconds. To the other reports then, the last remaining ones, Nadia as a counter at 28 seconds, Jean's grammarian report 3 minutes 15 seconds, and that concludes my timing report for today. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Geroid. Thank you very much. I said my role as General Evaluator was to help the club to get better. So let me now make a bit of an effort to give something of value. So I'd be grateful if those who are on next year's committee would make a note of what I have to say so that they can be carried forward for future reference. The first thing that struck me, I'm going to go through it chronologically and I'm going to talk fairly quickly. But the first thing that struck me about the whole experience of the meeting today was how few people were present in the meeting until close to the time that the meeting was due to start up. My recommendation is that in future, the vast majority of people be present for at about 20 minutes before the start of the actual kickoff. That, of course, would create a really strong, good impression to guests, rather than a guest arriving and discovering that, oh, there are only 3 or 4 people here. So that would be a recommendation there. The first sign of extraordinary quality in the meeting, I thought, came from Valerie as the Toastmaster of the day. The extraordinary quality, because she took on her role, do you remember, with a rich speech, not a few words thrown together, but a person who had done their preparation and delivered a leadership motivational type speech. And I thought to myself, wow, this woman has prepared. This is quality. And then to knock the ball out of the park, we were followed by the timer, who came along and gave the most extraordinary, thorough timer's introduction to the role. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is really something special. If I was coming to this club for the first time, I'd be saying, wow, these guys are quite serious. We had a terrifically succinct introduction to the role by the A counter and the grammarian. I have a recommendation for both of them though, which is, why on earth do we have an A counter? I want to hear the why the role exists explained every single time. I want to hear why good language matters, not just that I'll watch out for it. I want to know why it matters. I want to hear grammarian use the word impact or memorable or whatever, but I want to know the why of every single role, please, in future. I even want to hear, why on earth do we have evaluators? So that we can all remind ourselves. That is how you assure quality, keeping it going for the future. There was, I'd be grateful for the muting of dogs in the background. If that can be achieved, that would be a help. The role players were fantastic. I've said what I want to say in relation to the evaluators, And it's so important, the work that evaluators do. It isn't really worth coming to Toastmasters unless you get evaluated and unless you get good quality evaluations. You have nothing to go on after you've done your practice. So we're all dependent upon the quality of the evaluations. And that really can't be emphasized too much. Our guest speaker was wonderfully introduced. And I want to pay a high compliment for the care and consideration with which our guest speaker was introduced. And what a speech topic. What a brilliant reminder of how it isn't about making a speech. And I have to say to our guest, I have to say that when you said a few ums and ahs and a few so-called imperfections do not matter if you move people to action, I said, oh God, I like this man. I'd drink a cup of coffee with him any day. Loved it. And thank you for reminding us. Toastmasters, sometimes some clubs give the wrong impression that we're a load of people who nerdily count up how many ums and ahs we have and don't actually remember what is the purpose of speaking in the first place. So you brought great perspective into the club, and for that I thank you ever so much. You are welcome to come back again. Going on from there, I've already complimented most of the role players. I want to pay Jean special thanks. I will be naming the number of clubs you can drop into when you get off the aeroplane in Ireland. I will be adding that in. And even if nobody else wants to remind people that we're actually really an aeroplane owned by a club, I definitely, and that is on the club asset register, by the way. We have an airplane, and I want to hear that properly regarded. Look, congratulations to everybody. I've enjoyed doing the job, even if I dropped a clanger, which is a hard word to spell. There are two spellings, so we won't worry about it. I'll have to try to talk about a faux pas. Nadia, I got a faux pas there. We'll have a faux pas in future. Shall we have that, Nadia? Thank you all very much. I hand now back to the Toastmaster of the day, and thank you very much for your company, everybody.
Thank you so much, Paul, for a very comprehensive evaluation of our speakers as well as our meeting. I tell you, Toastmasters, one of the goals is to stretch us and take us to new heights. And being the Toastmaster for this specific meeting somehow felt very different from me being a Toastmaster at my local area club meeting. I felt like you were taking me to a new level. So I developed I'm a little bit more valiant than I was when I first started this process. So I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to be Toastmaster today. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to our presiding officer. Tanush, please take main screen.
Thank you, Valerie. Let's give her and all the speakers and all the role players a big round of applause. So now it's time to hear from our guest, Toastmaster Siddharth Fernando. How about your experience regarding the meeting today?
I must tell you frankly, this is a new experience for me, and I was highly taken up with the way it's like this is the concept that everyone in this world should have. It's like one family, and the advices given, the evaluations, and all. I mean, we don't feel that we are different nationalities. It's like one unique family. I believe that is very important to this world. I think you ladies and gentlemen, are doing a fantastic job. Fantastic job. I love it. It's a good example for the entire world. I think these type of forums as Toastmasters we should have. I greatly appreciate the meeting. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Sudha, for joining with us, and hope you will join in the future as well.
Sure, sure.
So, dear members, as we are about to conclude the meeting and we are about to conclude the year, is there anyone who would like to share your thoughts before I share my final thoughts?
I would, Tanusha.
Yes, Joan. Yes, Joan.
Thank you. I just want to say Maggie Gahagan invited me into the club August, September to sample the international flavor of this great community. And I just want to say, whatever glass you are raising, whatever happens in Ireland, maybe you cut the green grass clippings and do something with them. But nonetheless, if we could give some cheer to the leadership team, but more specifically to Tanusha for the fantastic job at birthing the community, at igniting the community, and then taking us through a very fast 2021 Toastmasters year for One Country, One World. Here's to Tanusha and the team. Cheers. We are so happy that you led us well this year.
Thank you, Joan.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What a great phrase, birthing and igniting. God, Joan, you're so good.
Joan, you took my job.
And now let's turn it over to Annie, the new prez. And Annie has said that she would like to be Toastmaster for the whole third quarter. What? Okay, I'm exaggerating a bit.
No, I think well said, Joan, and great job there. And I'm glad that you step up to say the words. That's what I wanted to say as well, but I probably couldn't say as well as you. But I want to congratulate our team here, and you did a fabulous rehearsal for whatever going to come up in the afternoon in a couple of hours. We're going to do better than this. I'm so happy that we have a successful dry run. And I'm just so privileged to be among this many leaders. And of course, Tanusha and the existing executive team has been like, it's the first year of this club. There was a lot of challenges, and we were through, we were thriving, and that's the result we're coming at this moment. And we will go a longer way. We will continue pushing forward with our new team of executives. I'm fully confident that we're gonna bring this club to even a more success in the future and the years to come as a fantastic club. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Tanusha, and all the executive team member.
Thank you, Annie.
Could I have a quick word before you, Tanusha?
Yes, Paul.
I just know there's no way of speaking after you. So I thought, well, look, I just got a couple of things I want to say about the year, you know, because somebody just said a second ago that it's been a really fast year, and I can't believe it's gone by so quickly. And, you know, this club hasn't been in existence for practically any more than a year. So it's been an extraordinary time. And the key thing is, what an extraordinary start we had. Just let's all remember the way the club started at a meeting of 78 different countries. Just remember that. And I say this for our guest because I think this might be a message you could take and pass on to other people, because we need your voice to be telling about the club, so that it isn't just all of us telling about the club. But imagine 78 different countries. Imagine the international president of Toastmasters International being the general evaluator. Imagine us, people in this club, being that well connected from a networking point of view and having that quality of rapport and relationships. It matters so much if you're going to, especially if you're going to be as ambitious as this club is, because we believe we have something great to bring. Then the launch. Remember the actual charter launch, another extraordinary thing with 3 past international presidents, if I'm right, speaking at it. And I daren't talk about all the qualifications that everybody has had. So just remember that huge, phenomenal launch. The sustaining of quality throughout the year. How has that been achieved? been achieved because of the effort to bring in guest speakers from other places into us to enrich our meetings and to show that we're not just people who broadcast outwards, we attract inwards. And that's a model that works. Then we have the whole question of growing our brand. Isn't language we use in the club, but we have a mission, as Tanusha reminded us of right at the very beginning of today's meeting, to bring best practices from places in the world to other places in the world, and to be a beacon of inspiration all around the globe, and to demonstrate by our family atmosphere, as has indeed been remarked upon, that peoples can live together in respect, with integrity, serving each other, and with a massive dollop of ice cream made up of excellence. So I don't really want to say any more, except to say that it matters that we keep this up, and that, Tanusha, you really should have the last word, because you're everyone's hero. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. So, my dear friends, 12 months of friendship, 365 days of charm. Even after 1 year, our relationships are so warm. So with that, today's meeting, we are about to conclude wonderful world-class events, charter installation ceremony, and we were able to conduct a global speaker to trainer program. The purpose of establishing this club was not just only to produce better speakers and better leaders, but also to get to know about each other and to learn about each other. We brought some unique roles for the meeting, like cultural master, tourist of the day, to practice that. However, during our journey, we were able to achieve the President Distinguished status within the very first year. So I wanted to thank all the club members for trusting this journey, especially my wonderful ExCo team, including VP Education team led by Maggie, VP Membership team led by Patricia, and VP PR team led by Nuj, and club secretary and club sponsor Annie, club treasurer Shamila, and a wonderful sergeant at times, and the club sponsor Paul. I hope you all enjoyed this year as the executive committee members, and I hope we all were able to make an impact. Let me share this lovely quote by John Maxwell. Leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts. It is about one life influencing another. Next year, we have a wonderful team which will be led by Annie, and I hope they will raise the bar. Wish them all the best, and let me officially sign off with this note as your club president. Stay safe, everyone, and goodbye.